Well, damn. EG take a commanding start to our series 13-6. Are we serious? On Ascent against Complexity, the start of sweet, sweet revenge from GC2. But Buck, this wasn't just a snowball for EG. This was an avalanche with Complexity winning both pistols too.
EG was so incredibly strong as a team, but let's be fair. It's hard to ignore the performance that Keency just put up that helped propel them across the finish line. Ended up finishing 26 and 14, 363 ACS. But as fun as it is to point a spotlight at Keency, and we always do that with the duelists, I'm really looking at the Killjoys, Starbound and Claudia, the battle between the two of them and who's going to maintain control. I feel like Starbound stepped up big time here. Ends up going 17 and 8. And a stat we don't talk about often, 104 econ rating. Basically meaning Starbound didn't really die that much. Was able to maximize their damage versus their dollars spent.
Yeah, you know, I take back that map being a toss-up because that was an absolute slaughter. They were so dominant. Like, look at winning 8 of 9 post plans. Like, it almost felt too easy for them. And like you said, Keency, just so many incredible moments, obviously feeling so comfortable on this map, a map where Jets just absolutely love to shine.
Yeah, Bach, we've been wanting to highlight Keency so much as now this Jet player rising to the top. I mean, even going toe-to-toe with someone like Fluorescent in terms of stats, like Keency was an animal today.
If you actually look at the stats before the series started, Keency moved above Fluorescent on the stats from the event because of the fact that Fluorescent was maybe struggling a little bit in that upper final match that V1 just played. The stats only improved because of the performance we just saw from Keency. Keency is currently number 1 in ACS, number 1 in KD, number 1 in ADR, number 1 in KPR, number 1 in FKPR. Pretty much every meaningful stat category for a duelist, Keency's number 1. And this map obviously was a great example of what a strong duelist can do when the team is clicking and it's just firing on all cylinders.
You know, interestingly enough, like watching, like Keency's obviously been incredible and doing so well for the team through the last few Game Changer series, but like I actually didn't see it so much in the previous matches this event. We've seen a lot of like bigger moments from Starbound and Lori. They've had their time, but like Keency's like, you know what? I'm back. This is my time. We're getting close to the finals. Hell of a performance.
Oh, hell of a performance on our first map. Let's check where we're going to next. It's match point for EG. It's our lower bracket semis. The loser is out. The season is done. No world championship for you. But hey, that last map was EG's choice. We could tell. But Buck, do the Complexity fans have some hope about Lotus coming up?
If you were considering going all in on the EG stonks, I would recommend you press pause on your investment portfolio because the reality is simple. Yes, Ascent is typically more of a coin toss map, like Sapphire said, and looking at the two teams' history, we didn't have a lot of sample size, specifically in GC, playing it once in the main event last time and once in the main event here before today. But Lotus is Complexity's playground. They love this map. They play this map a lot. They have a significant amount of experience on it, and it's one they definitely go to a lot. But there's also something to be said about that. You know what to expect from a team when they've played it upwards of 10 times through Game Changers.
Heather, where's your hope at? I know EG dominated, but how do they do on Lotus?
Yeah, you know, they've had some interesting matches. They've played it a few times throughout the qualifier for Game Changers. Those matches have been pretty close, I think, against the likes of Misfits, the likes of Supernova Galaxy. So, you know, EG can win, I think. You know, we're not going to necessarily maybe see that Jet. Obviously, usually this is a raise map for Keency, though Keency probably pops off on everything. But if you're a Complexity fan, I think there's some good hope here.
At least you don't want the Lotus that happened in the first round. If you're Complexity, they lost this 13-2
Forget about
to
that
Wingman.
one. That one doesn't
Oh, yeah.
happen.
Did that happen? My bad. Yeah, I don't
Wasn't
remember
real.
that either. Cut the VOD, cut the VOD. We'll go to Agent Select in a second, but hey, this is Complexity's choice. Obviously, you learn a lot from that round one. Both these teams have grinded their way from the bottom to rise to the top. There's only 3 teams remaining. And Buck, is this a map that you're expecting another mirror matchup in?
Yes, I think a lot of teams will run a little bit more of a standardized composition, and that's kind of one of the points I wanted to make about this. Even though this is something that Complexity plays a lot of, they started as one of the teams who was really playing this map a lot early on when other teams maybe were kind of shying away from it or just sort of dipping their toes in. Complexity invested heavily into Lotus early on. That benefit sort of dissipates when the map becomes more standardized in the play. So now that everyone is getting accustomed to playing Lotus more frequently, the buff that they effectively had as the Lotus team starts to fade away. It's very similar to what we saw with the Guard in Challengers, where they were one of the first teams to really embrace it. They played it a ton. They ran a slightly non-standard comp with Harbor, but as things started to stabilize throughout their run, teams started to find more and more rounds against them, even taking that map away from them. So there is certainly something to be said about Complexity's history on the map, in that other teams now have had more practice time on Lotus and are starting to catch up. It's not necessarily as dominant for Complexity as it maybe was 2-3 months ago.
And Heather, comparing how EG were just so clinical, 9-3 in their first half on a map like Ascent, is a map like Lotus something they can replicate that same speed and perfection on?
I think so. Yeah, you know, they're feeling good. They're gonna play really aggressive here. But you know, I think what I'm looking here at is, you know, there's a lot of this is a Killjoy map, really, and you know,
Yes.
Starbound obviously had some great moments. I vividly remember some incredible moments from Claudia on this map in the past matches, I believe against EG as well. So, you know, I think, you know, those are the 2 players that I'm looking to in this matchup.
Well, it's time to clutch or kick. EG are on match point. It's last life in Game Changers with a spot at the World Championship on the line. So let's send it over to Mimi and Wyatt.
Thanks very much to the desk. Wyatt, right now, Complexity is on the ropes. EG put up a dominant map 1, but if there was a map for Cole to rally back to keep their chances of going to Brazil alive, it would be Lotus.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been their home map all tournament. Matter of fact, this is the 8th time they're playing it in stage 3. So evil geniuses, floating this. Of course, you're going to expect that they've done their homework. There's more than enough tape on how to counter the Cole playstyle. But let's be real, that hasn't helped out a lot of these other teams. They're still fantastic here.
If EG can win Lotus here, if they can take down Complexity on their best map, they will eliminate them from contention for representing North America at the championship in Brazil. And they'll start out on this attacking side.
Looks like they're going to go for some fast B pressure, and we could get a clash between the duelists early. Keensey and Jazzy, they're both going to be on that same angle. Jazzy does some serious damage done. And now the double swing coming through. The nade is good as well. Oh my god, the nade is more than good. It is great. It does a hell of a lot of damage. We're 20 seconds into the round, and it's a 4-on-1.
What an excellent setup there from Complexity. Absolutely eviscerating the flash combined with the nade, and the nade goes just deep enough there, I think, as well, maybe even combined with that Viper Molly, that everyone is either forced forward to fight or to die in the nade. It's super well done and showing why they're so comfortable on this map.
It is a map where we will witness firsthand the density of Cole's playbook. They have so many aggressive moves just like that on this defense side.
EG was able to sneak quite a few cheeky rounds over Complexity on these ecos previous, so keeping this one clean is of course going to be a top priority for Cole, as they will go to their default here on Lotus. You can almost always expect to see Kara and Jazzy working together with Lace to take control of that A extremity.
This is a map in particular where I really think you see Jazzy shine on all fronts. She just knows how to maneuver it so well, set herself up for individual success, but also as the IGL, the calling here, the speediness of the rotations that we're going to see from Complexity. So impressive.
He had a shot there onto Reyes, but won't be much more than that. So still holding on to this one very well. And why you mentioning the comfort for Jazzy. So much of this comp has to be built around her. That nade is super impactful for taking control in these extremities, for winning out in the retake. She's the only one who can break line of sight with those double satchels, and she also has the pressure of being the IGL. In a game like this, where your hope of going to an international event, where she has a chance to make do on the disappointment of Cloud9's run at the GC Championship last year, it really is apparent why she's so important and how much it would mean for her to make this run happen with this team.
Jazzy is just a testament to something we're seeing all around the Game Changer scene. She is really one of the first true upcoming talents that we have in this space, and is now a veteran leader on a new team with a new crop of talent rising to the top, taking the learnings from Mel, the storied IGL in the scene, and applying it here to Complexity. It is just a fantastic arc that she's been on over the years here at Valorant.
And it's interesting to compare to Thea as well, who has had a similar arc, starting with her time on Dignitas even back in previous games, being that young new star, and now developing here as the only member of that initial Dignitas roster that then became Evil Geniuses left on the squad.
Aggressive line from Complexity, the same setup as the pistol.
And this time, it's C in their control. EG will take their chance to walk up on A. They'll be running into a Killjoy setup, though.
What I'm looking for here is how quickly are Cole going to be able to maneuver their way towards this A site if EG end up finishing the hit here. They have excelled at rotating on this map.
And you already see the information being gained. A quick push up towards B and out towards C as well. Info is in. The dog will push forward. Here comes the execute. Claudia on that site. She's got a stinger, and it won't be good for anything more than that.
And look at this. Actually, already they are fighting it in yard, claiming kills with the weaker weapons close up with the Spectre, the range that you want to take duels in with that weapon.
But look at this call. EG is already pivoting and pushing their way back, flipping the map into spawn here. Thea holding on the line. No one will test her just yet, and she needs to find an opportunity here. In combination with Queen's swing is in. It's only one kill, though. Now Thea is in big trouble. Across the line comes the swing, but it's not enough time for Jazzy to get the kill. Info is good, though. He's at top. He's spotted, but not quite taken down as Jazzy from the other side claims the final kill, and Complexity convert their bonus.
They are rolling already, and exactly what I was looking for. They did straight away. The pace of those players exploding out of the baby door from B, fighting over yard, catching those late EG players. The calling from Jazzy on this map is sublime.
It's ridiculous what she can do. The fast adaptation there is perfect. From the pressure towards C, to then pushing through the little door, to then playing into the retake, realizing the possibility that EG was trying to flip. It's all beautifully done.
And here we see, again, back to the standard defensive opening. Brawl on the A side, the TP across from Thea. Being spelled here for EG. So, probably that sheriff in that turns enormously.
Jazzy seems to always have the right nade at the right time, and again, it will get her out of dodge, but the biggest risk now comes down to these weapons, and that wall coming up actually means there's a chance for them to be recovered, but how long will they be held on to? That's a better question, and Kinsey has already dropped hers. Starbound, she's alone. There's no chance of getting past Jazzykins.
Now, Jazzy won't be dropping this rifle till she gets dropped herself, but I'm going to assume that whenever that does happen, the operator will then be in her hands. 10-0 already. You are joking. But I'm telling you, when Jazzy gets the op online on this map, emanates confidence, always holding the right angles, always getting the kills when someone enters the crosshair. So impactful.
Very early timeout being taken here from EG. They have been stumped by Complexity's defense thus far.
Yeah, that is their coach Jovi now getting into the mix. Certainly an experienced coach in his own right. Time with a lot of teams, 100 Thieves notably.
And this is still a relatively new team. We talked in the first map about how new the additions are Just after GC2, in came Lori as well as Starbound to this roster, and it looks like they have fit in beautifully, but there only was so much time since that event, and when you're playing into a map like Lotus, maybe not at the top of your map pool against probably the team in Game Changers the most comfortable here, it's always going to be difficult to find your footing.
Yeah, interestingly enough, what we saw on Ascent, a map that's pretty good for Cole, not all the way at the top of their pool, but not bad. Similar situation here for EG, good on Lotus. Not at the tippity top of the pool, but good. And both teams just blowing the other out. I mean, at least looks like we're headed for that right now.
Seems to be the case. This time, not that A aggression, the most common default setup that Complexity run on their defense. Instead, they're set up heavier towards B. They were expecting a fast pop out of the timeout. That's not to come. Instead, EG will slowly contact up and take space in a lobby.
The Viper gameplay on attack. You're on Lotus. Crucial taking that space. Aggressive line from Kaz, essentially all the way in. No real utility in support. Able to trade out 1-for-1. Listen, we'll take that.
I mean, another adaptation from Cole out the timeout. They really expect that setup towards A and are able to punish it with that rocket trap. But is the 1-for-1 enough? Ace has to fall away. She could be in a bit of trouble if she doesn't get far enough from that revolving door, which has already been opened up. But a smoke will buy her some space, buy her some time on this site. Is EG going for it, though? Dog through the smoke. Do they want to go A? Do they want to pivot B? Seems the latter.
KJ set up to deal with on entry, stalled out by the molly.
Might have to double back at this point now. They're running out of options. Complexity starting to pinch in on this one, but EG have found their way through. Spike plant. Is that possible in this one? Can't do one to test. Molly down at the extremity and Raze killed as well. Claudia out off the flash finds one, but it's EG winning out on the trades and shutting down on the round. They're on the board.
Excellent job from EG, posting up with some nice crossfires there. Good fundamental team play, watching the angles for each other. Complexity, again, with such an aggressive line all throughout this round. Jazzy opening it up. And I like this pop flash out of the smoke. They went for a bit of a pre-take. When you're in that 3v4, if there's a spike planter going down, you've got a bit of a faux 3v3 if you can get in on that timing. That's what they tried to do.
Now it's a question of how can EG carry the momentum off that first round win. Cole is back to their aggressive A lobby default, and Power Pixel will have to respect that. But in this round, EG has a big tool available. That lockdown opens up either C or B for an execute.
Very close as well to either the Viper or Sky ultimate. They're going to be able to claim this orb, and then if they give the spike to either, they could have that for the post plant.
They will elect to give it. Or do I believe that's Sky instead? So getting something online to help out in this round. Only over for Raze, and it's actually the all committed. Instead, just the rocket in, and Cole shuts it down easily. Raze for two, but Thea did make her way past off her own teleports. However, the Sky Seekers have blinded her up, and she's got to teleport out.
Lori biding her time, looking like to be an over push. Jazzy!
Spike down
Spray a bit messy, but Thea totally unaware. Still gonna get that kill.
It's just been donated to Jazzykins, and she is the happy new keeper of that piece of pie. Claudia there to mop up the round as well. It looked like an opportunity there for EG. I'm very surprised that they didn't invest the lockdown for that exec.
Yeah, absolutely. It really comes down to is the EG side being encumbered by Viper mollies on the ground. Those vulnerables so impactful.
And maybe a little bit too fast in that call for a pivot. It shut down, and that's EG again reset. They had that opportunity with their round 5 win, but now they're straight back down with the pistols.
And we are back to old reliable for Complexity. Made the TP, the flash. Standard way here to take A control early.
Other teams have found success against Cole when they rely heavily on re-clearing the space, walking up in the mid-round. But you see Complexity have different looks to it. In this round, they stay aggressive, get a kill, very akin to that first round where we saw Residents do the same thing and get an opener for her squad.
Resilience from Complexity here to brush off such a tough loss on Ascent. Winning both pistols and barely any more rounds than that. Looking like an entirely new team here.
Exactly what you expect from a squad who has players who have been around for so long, who have been at the top for quite a while, especially with the leadership of Jazzykins, who so desperately wants another shot at an international event.
Bit of vengeance in her mind if she can get there. Suffering a defeat last year.
And if she could do it by winning here and then beating Shopify, there'd be no other way for her to get that second shot.
That revenge would be so sweet. Complexity are 2 wins away from accomplishing that feat. Being that second team to qualify for champions. This is the first of 2 necessary wins.
Side. It was Geniuses, and just as quickly they're knocked out of this round. That double molly setup anchoring on C continues to be oh so potent.
We're here because we're the best.
See now if EG can formulate an answer a bit after that timeout. They have a lot of ultimates to play with. Could certainly expect Lori's Seekers to be used to try and crack open the site. Perhaps use Starbound's lockdown for the post plant or that Viper ultimate. They've certainly got a lot of options here. I expect, no matter what, to see many ultimates involved in this site exec. And look at this Complexity. They're taking that aggressive postured line that we saw early in the half.
Guess who's here? It's Jazzy. 15-1 thus far. She's having a pretty good game for herself. And let's see how much more she can add to that tally. Nade forward. They'll separate EG off from their paranoia, and they will tuck tail on over to the A site instead.
In these situations, Cole have done a great job of playing fast through B in the baby door to cut off the players going through yard.
They're always able to find that punish in time. You see the rotates being set up for that exact same idea. It comes down to how much time Claudia can buy for her team, but we've seen it before. She's so good in these positions as a solo anchor. EG cut noise for a moment, but now they immediately reinvest with the dog and then try and run straight into Claudia to meat grinder through the smoke as Kinsey goes down. That's their dive. They're going to struggle so much to get past these smokes, to find an opportunity back into this round, and Power Pixel leading up so much damage as Lori into the site. They'll claim that anchor. Killjoy down, so too goes Jazzy as she attempted to dive into the site. The tap on the spike and the pit committed. EG in a great position.
Pit is going to just cover up the spike as well. Really nice adjustment from EG. I love how they slowed that down on the exec, just contacting in.
Dog to re-clear. Lace is the one who's going to have to follow this up, but it's broken, and no one is in a great spot to spam that one through. Only 3 players from Cold to make it go with this. They have to dive deep into this pit. They have to find that Viper. She's not showing herself just yet. Thea is there to spam on the other side, and Kara is the only one left to try to make something of this round, but it's just not happening. EG claim their second round now.
And there it is, those ultimates, so necessary. Key in the round win. They've been able to carry over this lockdown as well. Try and start cycling these into some round wins. The first domino falling perhaps here on round 8.
They also have this lockdown to continue that momentum. Another tool to keep it up. I do like the way they're starting to approach A now, giving it a lot of respect early on, and last round they threaten their ability to always go back. They're really forcing Complexity to keep someone constantly on watch of that forward space.
That Viper's Pit is going to come down here early from Raze to control C. And it looks like EG have intentions on E going straight through it. The dog is going to come through TP as well, but Thea caught off. And was that with the spike? It is. The spike is down in the site now, in the pit.
A massive blunder for Evil Geniuses. The spike beautifully delivered on a silver platter, really, to the defenders of Complexity, and Orb up as well. There seems no chance to make their way back into this round.
I think we're about to witness the longest minute of EG's lives as this round is going to slowly just slip out of their grasp until it's over.
That's a tilter, really. Be a little mistake not realizing she had the spike, or maybe intentional instead and just thinking players could get across. But even if you think that scenario, surely it seems unlikely. Every time they've attempted to go see those Killjoy Molly setups, the Viper Mollies have utterly destroyed the players attempting to make an attempt at it.
30 seconds
No,
left.
perhaps there as well. You may think that Starbound could have used the lockdown. They opted to try and just do this pacey hit into that pit instead, though.
I think the biggest issue would have been that that pit extends so far out that it wouldn't even let you have any safe place to get that lockdown invested.
10
It
seconds
probably
left.
would have had to be a pivot to be something instead, but those are all bygones at this point. It's complexity really getting a fairly easy round here. And they're back in control at 7.
Time expires as EG waited a full 60 seconds in a mummified state, and perhaps the gaining of momentum from the previous lost at this point.
What's EG's plan now? How can they shake off a mistake like that?
Looks like they want to gather up to go for some kind of swift B play with the lockdown.
Judge available. So it's a big tool for ideas like this one. 4 seconds left to go. That is the decision. No one holding on to B. Instead, it will just be an alarm bot. Those mollies holding down the fort. In goes the dog. Up comes the judge. Kinsey coming around the corner. The rifle in her hand instead will take all the space needed on this B site and allow EG a post.
How are EG going to set this up, though? No player's able to take any forward space. It's going to be really tough when these retakers start flooding in off this lockdown, presumably from Claudia.
And look at the flank already coming in. Jazzy is going to be a thorn in the side here. Already getting a dink, I think, there on the Starbound. And the lockdown is committed. Raze punishes Thea, just trying to swing around and catch herself with timing. And that actually forces out the lockdown from the other side as well. Concentric circles keeping both sides at bay, but Kara wants to get ahead of it. She's holding on to this defuse, and no one can stop her. It's Complexity winning a beautiful retake.
Exploding into the site, and EG suffering the consequences of not taking any forward space there.
A brutal round to lose yet again here. 4 evil geniuses. And that was one of their biggest tools, again, being used to no round. Lockdown unavailable, and they're not really going to have any of these big ults for the rest of the half, maybe bar that rocket from Kinsey.
Kinsey on the first half of Ascent, if we harken back to the previous map, I believe it was 17-9, the final stats. Jazzy making that look like it's nothing. 16-2 right now.
She's absolutely unreal on this map, on the Raze. It's where she feels at home.
At some point here, teams are just gonna
Satchel out.
really have to stop letting Complexity play this map.
Yeah, seems like puts it, ban it against Complexity. They don't seem to lose here.
And now EG, they are gonna gather up for what feels like a desperate B hit with these weak weapons, trying to get anything they can on the board.
This time, someone is home to receive 2 players on Complexity, anchored onto this B site. Ready with the paranoia flash to punish, but take a peek. Power picks out. He's walked up far, but will be revealed by that alarm bot. But that is now a possible gap, which forces the Sky of Karen to turn around and face the other way. To the site they go. Kinsey gets the opener. Rocket now online. Can she find a target for it? Not quite. It's Jazzy around the other side with a rocket of her own. Starbound gonna try and challenge and actually wins it out over the Star. So now 3 versus 3. It was a rough fight for EG to begin with, but they have a chance at this. How they're gonna have to fend off against this flood retake. Dog forward. Tap on that spike, and Power picks out. He's holding onto it, but Kinsey catches an awkward timing there onto Claudia. Kara will trade, and it's down to a 1v1, and time is limited. Power picks out, needs to get that plant forward. A molly to buy them a bit more space, a bit more time.
Spike planted.
But is Raze ready for this one? Odin up top, and it's an
what
easy
is
spray through
that?
the wall. Well, running to win
I
the
mean,
round.
That looked like some full motion, just holding down the keys, holding down mouse 1.
Love me
vintage
a
Odin
run and gun Odin
gameplay.
clutch.
Last
Love
round
that.
in the half.
This is what Valorant was meant to be. Nice job from Kara as well, fast-footing in there. But it's really this flank from Jazzy that opens things up. You could see it midway into the round, how Complexity just ensnare their opposing teams in this vice. They have control over towards C, stacked up on other areas of the map, because Jazzy is so confident, just on her lonesome, taking space somewhere. And now they're back to this 2C, 2B open. But this time, finally, on the very last round, we are seeing the off in the hands of Jazzy.
She's had opportunities with it, maybe a little early on, but always electing for that rifle, which she's so damn good with as well. she's not going to really get a chance to use it on a line. Instead, EG has made their way fast to this A site. It's 5v5, make that 4 as Claudia dies through the smoke. EG, another chance here for a round.
That is the first time Claudia has really succumbed to the strain put on her site while anchoring. See what Complexity can do on the retake with the op. It's going to be very difficult. No ultimates in their hands either. One flash for Carr to try and explode through a smoke.
Revolving door open, that's a lot of pressure from Complexity, but EG contend with it well. They push back on the other side, get 2 kills onto the retakers, and now Jazzy's off is in a tough position, especially since Lacey was dead towards the heavens. She's not even going to get a chance to use it. Evil geniuses. It was mislabored, but they've got at least 3 rounds from their first half.
Nice entry on that one to take down Claudia. That was the crucial kill. Perhaps EG going to be able to begin clawing things back. I'm certainly not going to get ahead of myself by any means, though.
They would have to start here early on with a pistol round win if they wanted to have an opportunity to bring things back. Famously, Lotus can be pretty difficult on defense, though. Cole made it look quite easy. However, they're also adept on this attacking side, and for the pistol, it looks like they might be queued up for a faster piece towards this B side.
I have yet to see a team in the Game Changers scene that is as good as Complexity on the defense here. EG would have to pull off a masterclass.
It's such a tall task for them. And Colt, they found a nice open site of B. They don't even want to take it. They don't know how open it is. Instead, they're just going to pull some rotations that way and instead look towards the C site, which would be a bit more difficult to get into. That orb will go up. The turret holds on one side. And there are mollies to help out on the anchoring here. However, Cole doesn't want anything in that area.
Just going to expend some of that energy from the Viper. And look at the rotation they've drawn. 4 players from EG got baited from that over to C. It's just Thea here on A. Probably going to have to play for survival.
Going to be a tough spot for Thea to hold on to. But rotates are coming in, and again, Complexity trying to find a new option here. They leave 2 players to bait towards A and hoof their way last second to the C site.
They drew a late paranoia out of Thea. Now they've gone back to C, where Claudia has just been locking things down, watching for aggression. Keen C, nade in hand for when the sound of the execute comes to it, but isn't going to really be any sound. Yes, the turret is going to trigger it. Here comes that grenade.
Oh, it's EG for 2 off the rip. Card has trade, but can that spike get across in time? 20 seconds to get it planted, and the rest of EG pretty far away. They elect to play full retake.
Got some utility to do so as well. Lori has a
10
flash.
seconds left.
They have this fast flank coming in already as well. Thea has worked her way around, and they're going to be patient. Wait for the aggression from Cole, and it is coming. Towards Waterfall they go, and Lori holds strong. Carr alone now with not enough HP to even make a go of things. Power Pixel closes out the round, and EG win a big pistol.
EG are doing a good job preparing themselves for a lot of those little plays that Complexity like to go for that we just saw. They'll stack up a few players in the smoke and try and find a timing to swing out of it. That time EG able to capitalize and nullify it.
And maybe Complexity overcomplicating things a little bit in that mid-round. They had multiple opportunities to commit to a site late there. I think especially towards A, they didn't even really prod deeper after that paranoia through the revolving door. And so they kind of have this haphazard push back into C, where I don't think they even had anyone set up to lurk up and guarantee that space.
EG now trying to bring things back into their hands after taking down map 1 in convincing fashion. That was their pick here on Complexity's home map. They've been struggling so far, but maybe defenses decide they can bring things back. I mean, Jesse's in so deep, double satchel with the shorty. But EG flooding back into the site, bringing things back to a sane ending. I was worried there for a second.
Jazzikins wins the silly point for getting the double satchel shorty kill, but there's no actual round to be won there by Complexity. So now we re-enter the world of normalcy, where Complexity will have a full buy. This is going to be a big test for EG.
We haven't seen a whole lot of aggression just yet from EG on this defensive side. It looks like I may eat my words on that. As you can see, the Sky, Lori rotating over to C, playing with Keen C. There is going to be pressure coming in towards C a bit early.
aggressive play from Evil Geniuses. It's going to be Keency in that close corner. Will break the turret. It doesn't go any further for now. Until a flash comes around the corner and, well, Keency's just gone.
A valiant effort, but both Cole players were practically playing anti, so a life thrown away, a body in the grave for Evil Geniuses. Complexity, a lot of time on the clock to start dragging these rotators around.
Now Cole really just got to take the time, group up, find the lighter side, maybe contact in instead. Could this be a bridge too far? No. Lace is ready on the angle. She deals with the threat of Lori. She has the C side.
Yeah, that spike is going to rotate. Oh, for now, Raze is still on. Super deep lurk as well. See if the timing here is found. Raze isn't going to go for anything too crazy. Certainly unnecessary when you're in a man advantage situation like this.
These weapons up, definitely. The bigger goal for Complexity, EG. Can they get any damage done? Can they get anything out of this round? Make an attempt, but is this contact play ready to go off that paranoia? And Complexity even have a late flank as a piece of insurance. Crossing their T's, dotting their I's. They're gonna have 10 rounds here. Just 3 away from taking us to Haven.
On the cusp of the third map. Complexity themselves on the cusp of qualifying for the Game Changers champions. This necessary win against EG, and after that, it's just one more, and they could do the unthinkable, be the first team outside of that classic top 2 that we always see in GC of the V1 core, Shopify, and now it's Complexity vying to be in that top 2.
And of course you've got Jazzy at the helm, 20-6 thus far in this map. Another unbelievable individual map from her.
It just always comes back to Lotus with Jazzy. She is outstanding here. It is her playground. Lace TPing across, some nice supporting flashes coming out from Kara as well. The swings are coming in, but Keency doing a nice job trading back. Gonna need to force back Kara.
They're gonna get out with the satchel as well. So EG have themselves a nice advantage here, but the defenders are quite far spread, and Complexity is a great tool for information. Kara pops her Seekers. They'll show where Keency's hiding, and they know she's pretty isolated in this endeavor. They want to take the chance, take the timing, take her down. Keency, though, is ready for it. 3 kills already. Satchel back around the corner, maybe a little bit too fast for her own good. Leaves Claudia in a winnable clutch here. But Starbound is ever so sneaky. She slides down the ramp, she swings around the corner, but Claudia somehow wins it. And Claudia has another shot, but it's Power Pixel instead to save that round for EG.
That round really comes down to a situation that we will see often here on Lotus. That A fight, the early A fight, is so crucial. And when the defenders have the ability to get close to the door, close the gap before all of the attackers can really get out of it, they're going to find success, and that is exactly what we saw here. Well played from Keency. Some good trades, playing around that rock wall well.
And they absolutely need Keency online. It has been a very slow map compared to Ascent for them in this matchup thus far. If they could get online, have a massive second half, and there is still a chance for EG to make this comeback a reality.
And typically when we see Keency have the outrageous performances, it will be on the Jet, but the Rays typically not far off. What it really comes down to is Complexity's team play, their understanding of this map is on a totally different level. How can you get anything started as a duelist here?
It's so hard. But, Jazzy, it's pretty easy for her, honestly. Gets a kill onto Starbound there, has an opening onto this A site. And EG so far away on these rotations. They have a rocket to make it back into the site, but that lockdown is going to buy so much time.
Delay right now. EG, not a lot of time to work with. Flash, dodge. Doesn't even really look like they want to go for it at this point.
I mean, they have so little money in reserve. 0 credits for Keency. They're going to have to make a save happen here. And Complexity, again, regaining control of this game.
It can't be understated how much of a different team we're watching here from Cole. you compare it to just what we had seen on Ascent, what an absolute reversal.
Getting 13-6. They're now maybe having a chance to 13-6 Evil Geniuses right back. 2 more rounds is all it would take to accomplish that goal. Maybe a chance for a timeout here. EG knows that this is really their last chance, but it's of the technical nature instead. Still, a good moment to chill out and think about ideas for the next, even if you can't talk to the coach.
A pause of the technical nature.
Hate when that happens.
My favorite kind of pause, for real.
We'll get you folks info on this one as soon as possible. But I think it gives us time to kind of expand out a little bit and talk about what this means for complexity, of course. After losing map 1 in such a fashion, after being a squad that has honestly had such dominant runs in GC2, making it to the top 2 of that one, and then hitting the roadblock here, going down to the lower bracket in the first, having a really tough bracket to make it here, and now having to just win 2 more games to make it to the championship. They're on the beginning of an incredible run, and their resiliency to bounce back in this series and in this tournament as a whole has been so impressive.
They have been on a serious lower bracket tear. Again, keep repeating it, but it is so important. They just need to win 2 games, this being one of them, and they will qualify for champions. For the first time for 4 of these players. It'd be the biggest tournament of their lives, presumably. We really are existing in this new era of game changers. An abundance of talent individually as teams. So many new players rising to the top, displaying how good they've gotten from competing over the past couple of years, that they are truly contesting for these top spots. It doesn't feel out of reach anymore.
And what is interesting is that if you went back to the dawn of game changers at the very beginning 2 years ago, the only names really that were competing then that are in this server now are, you know, the cores who have been there for a while. Your Loris, your Theas, of course, Jazzy, Claudia even making appearances early on. But pretty much the rest of this server is all those new players that have come up in the last year or so, a little prior to that one for Lacey, and have not only made names for themselves, but found themselves spots on signed rosters and in this position. That constant progress of discovering new talent has been so impressive.
We talked about Starbound a lot on the first map, but perfect player to highlight in regard to everything you had just mentioned. Really stellar performance there on Ascent, and still not doing too bad here either on Lotus, but a player who's never been on a signed team before. The first time on a signed team with that team on their deepest run to date. A lot of pressure, and they just haven't succumbed to it.
And for a little context, someone's game had crashed, but they've got it all reopened and reset. So we're back into things now. It's round 18. Complexity are up 11-6 with a chance to take us to Haven.
Let's make them dance.
Jazzykins, with that ultimate in play, we have seen some absolute nonsense from her so far with that. Able to get kills in extremely silly situations.
No contact through the smoke on C-Long. And maybe ready that ultimate yet again to take the site here. Jazzy, off the dog, here she goes. Rocket up and over the top. Can she connect it? Not in time. Dancing in her face is Power Pixel. Somehow still alive this time. The silliness going the other way.
Way too silly. Winning the most likely to be silliest award. The spike is down.
Wait, she had the spike?
Yes, this is the same thing that happened in the last half where there's like the TP in.
Wait. Wyatt, here's the thing now. They're 5 heads. Lace has ult. It was the plan all along. They don't need it. Simply cancel. Come back at the spike. You had 5 minutes to think in your head.
There is no way that this is what's happening. 11-6 this deep in the game. Claudia's fighting forward. Keensey with the all of this silliness. The silliness all for naught, tragically.
It was an insane idea, an insane call, but it's not happening this time for EG. That was intentional. Was that intentional?
I mean, it had to have been. I can't believe
Jazzy is
what
sitting in the
we're
tech pause.
witnessing.
Can't talk to anyone, can't talk to her coach, and just coming up with the most ridiculous plan possible. Executes it. First part of it, cool idea. Fails in the end, but to bring things back down to normalcy now, it'll be Complexity taking a timeout, and I'm sure Coach Joe bringing that same goal into this moment. But rounds like that, it's tough to let him slip away. 11 rounds looks great until you realize EG only trailing by 4 here.
I still can't get over that. That was... I wonder if Jazzy learned that one from Mel. Took that one over from the IGLing, the IGL apprentice,
The
taking
young
that one over
protege.
from the master. That is a crazy call. Joe demanded a timeout after that one. Y'all got way too silly. Let's just do an honest to God sight exec here and close this thing out.
They'll have to do that now. EG, this also gives them a chance to adapt, to come up with a new idea. I think thus far they've done a really good job of anchoring things, especially towards C. You have to give a lot of credit to Power Pixel, who normally is known for her KO, her supportive flashes. In this map has been doing an excellent job as that anchor.
No ultimates in play. Not many particularly close. I mean, none for the complexity side, certainly. Evil Geniuses, if they opt to fight over these orbs, though, they could get a lockdown to Seekers online.
Those are tools to tally up towards to continue to make this comeback possible. And you do see them pressuring towards that C extremity. Not making anything more of it is complexity, making a priority of breaking this alarm. What do they want more, though? Are they going to make a go of things? Another exec towards B. Doesn't seem so for the moment. Sasha will miss out there, so EG maintains some great info with that alarm bot online.
Small detail, but could bear some serious significance as the round plays on.
They fake a tap on the door, but where is that spike headed? It's worked all the way back towards B. Now another tap on the revolving door. Gives players inroads towards this C site. Dog goes forward, but the spike headed the complete other direction.
A lot of utility thrown in there on this fake. It has succeeded in drawing the rotate. Those defensive players are stacked up towards C. It's Keen C on their lonesome on A. If there was a player I trust on EG to hold things down, though, that is the one.
They spot out complexity. Call for rotations. In comes Thea to help in this endeavor. And the spike is down. I don't even know if Keen C saw anyone. It might have just been a lucky timing, a lucky spam through the smoke, but you'll take what you can get. Count your lucky stars. Into the B side they go. Complexity have the plant down. And EG ready to retake.
Not a lot of positioning, though, for complexity, and Kara could have been the linchpin of a round win. Caught out, ever watchful as Thea.
Starbound now has to be that tip of the spear. All 3 members retaking together here, but Raze cuts down 2. EG still maintain advantage of this one, and it's Power Pixel's Odin to do the brunt of the work. EG, 8 rounds, it's another successful retake.
It is just so hard to maintain the sight control of it once you've gotten the spike down. If you don't get those forward positions, everything was really on Kara with that flank timing. The awareness of Thea to just be patiently waiting towards A, this catch, so impactful.
Last player standing.
Power Pixel again has just shown some ridiculous stuff with that prized weapon of hers, and she'll reposition over towards A, maybe gonna get in on the spam game towards that direction. We've seen how potent that's been in Game Changers thus far. Pulls money at a bit of a breaking point here. They're building up that loss bonus, but only a judge for Kara in this round, and Keen C has picked up the operator.
You allow for some good C control. Again, we're seeing this early pressure for complexity on B, though, and this time it is not just to break utility. They have committed. They're getting the spike down early.
Plant is in. EG having to play the set retake this time. They do have Seekers online.
Here we go. This time, they're rectifying the mistake of the previous round. They are taking these forward positions.
But will it be enough for complexity to close out? They have to hold space towards the heaven side here. Jazzy invests in A. That allows Kara to get forward with a judge of her own. When will EG send it? When will they commit to this retake? Right in, comes Starbound, and down goes Kara on that other side. Jazzy has to come up with support, but can she do anything? Absolutely not. Another masterful moment from Starbound as they've already found 3, a 4 through the smoke, wants the ace in this one. EG, the round is locked down, and it's all off the newest edition.
Flawless.
I like how complexity set that up. They had 3 players in position to swing off of each other with Kara, taking point with that judge. the timing on it just didn't come in as intended. That secondary swing, that was Lacey supposed to pick that up, and she was just a second delayed from and from there, you know, the house of cards, it just crumbles down. EG are actually making a serious go at this. You mentioned it at the top of the round, but look at the economy for Cole. Absolutely shattered.
And EG building up tools to keep this going as well. They have the lockdown online, an emergency button they can hit in any of these retakes. This has all the billings of a possible comeback here.
What a comeback it would be. Already on the deepest run in the game changes this entire year. Now on the cusp of making it into the top 3. A shot for the finals, a shot to make champions.
It would have been off the back of only 2 changes after GC2, an EG squad that's always been around but has never quite found that perfect recipe to actually be a top 3 squad, to be a team who can contest for places at international tournaments. And they have that opportunity here if they could eliminate complexity.
Oftentimes in the past when watching EG, I mean, how could you not be? But I've always been so blown away by the skill of Keensey. But other than Keensey, at times it just didn't seem like there were other players picking up the slack when needed. And that could not be said about the team right now. Those new additions, Starbound, a new upcoming player, just proving their value in space time and time again.
It is just an eco round, but Claudia has a very tricky spot. She's worked her way all the way through B, but it might not matter. That is if Keensey had hit that shot. Instead, Claudia just takes her head straight off with the ghost, and now things get quite weird. Because look where Jazzykins is as well. Everyone is on a walk, and they're seeing the beautiful scenery. But is it enough to win a round? Because Jazzy is down. The spike will be planted, but it's a good position for a retake from Evil Geniuses. And Cole only have one real rifle. It's this operator. It's training towards the spawn side, and now Claudia is engaged. She has to inch forward. She misses out on the first shot. She doesn't have a second chance. It was risky for a moment, but EG are back in command, back in control of this one. Ray's alone in her pit, a 1 versus 4. The world in front of her. And it's all for not EG. They're into double digits, Wyatt.
On the cusp of manifesting a comeback and a victory over complexity. The second place team of Stage 2. The team that knocked out EG in Stage 2.
What a moment for them to get revenge. Would it be? Shopify awaits in that lower final. They would make history by winning here. They would make history if they could make that run happen even further. And it's got to mean a lot for so many of these players who have been grinding on this roster for a long time. Thea has been there since the beginning. And she can probably start to feel in this comeback the chance to make it happen right here. They still have to close it out. And this is a big test. Because Cole have a lockdown, they have rifles back up, and they're heading fast towards the C site.
Good flash from Kara. Force Keensey off that line. The Viper's Pit is going to get committed now to lock down this C site. Complexity are going to fall off. Some space have been taken on A in the meantime. We'll see if they want to work on that into an A execute. Claudia has the lockdown. Try and get the site for free.
An attacking operator for Lace. And Keensey is going to challenge. And somehow, she's the one who wins that. Gets tagged as well through the wall, but comes out the better of it.
Complexity are trying to move quickly off the back of this, but I am worried that this hit might not go the way they intend. Trying to spill now through tree. Jazzy, fantastic opening.
Down goes Thea. Starbound dives back into the site and is now at risk, but look who's here. Keensey, a guardian angel, sending in nades from above as everyone escapes.
Spike is going to go down here. 3-on-4 car, trying to get some health back onto Jazzykins, up to 100. No utility to play with here for Cole. It's going to come down to duels and crossfires.
And the first one up to bat for those duels just below is Jazzy, immediately taking care of Power Pixel's Odin again, fighting out for another kill. Lori is in, down goes the Sky on the other side. It's only Claudia finds 1 kill. Head taken off Starbound, has to get rid of Lori as well. And Keensey is just suppressing fire down this line. There's no chance for Claudia in the round. It's a tie game. EG making this comeback a reality.
Keensey winning that duel with the off against Lacey is outrageous. These shots coming out from that off late into the half, all tied up at this point. 5 in a row for EG.
She had a rough start to this game, but Kinsey is climbing up that leaderboard in the moment that matters most for EG.
Complexity are able to squeeze out another buy, though, because of that spike plant, so things are not over quite yet.
They've invested everything in this round. They need to make something of it. And again, the leader is down off the block.
August is going to come through on to see a lot of utility being committed from Complexity. Players split. Lacey has acquired some space here. Now it's the rest of the players pooling in. Looks like, oh, they're going to be in trouble if this Odin is able to stop the planter. Power Pixel now getting healed up as well.
EG are so patient in moments like these, waiting for Complexity to make the wrong move. And they were waiting, after all, for the Omen Smoke to regenerate, but they don't want to tap the spike. Instead, they walk straight to the waterfall, and they try and pop this trap. Starbound is here. How much more can she get? Enough. Claudia takes her down, but Kinsey's operator always rings true, and here comes this rocket up and over the top. It doesn't connect. Kara takes her down, and now B's open.
Moment of over-aggression from Kinsey, not a mistake we have seen really in this series at all. A-site,
30 seconds
vacant,
left.
Complexity going to get the spike down. Pivotal moment in the 2v2.
Lori
I've got your trail.
and Power Pixel have to make this retake happen to keep the comeback alive. And they find anyone early on. The Secrets have revealed exactly where they're hiding in this round. And Complexity are so far away.
Lace has struggled on this map. One of the best players for Complexity, one of the best players in Game Changers. A moment to step up here.
Can she get it done? Complexity have the time on their side. They hold far away and Kara is damaged. It might now be all on Lace. Flash up. She's queued up and she takes down Lori. No half on that spike. It's only on Power Pixel to win out on the clutch. And it's not possible. Kara for 3 and Complexity recovering from match point.
Kara is someone you can trust to step up for Cole in these high-pressure situations. Not always the top of the scoreboard, not always looking the fanciest throughout the game. A great supportive player, but this is another moment where deep in a game, during a comeback situation, a tight OT situation, Kara is the one that is stepping up for Cole. Just nerves of steel.
She always seems to do it. But it's the last round of regulation. EG, can they take it to overtime? Find a chance to close out on Lotus. There's Haven on the cards.
Jazzykins is going to be one orb away here. Getting that showstopper online, and Complexity are going to... Looks like they want to ensure that's going to happen. Kara was about to roll her teammate there for a moment, but Jazzy is going to recover that orb, get the ult online.
Big ultimate to have to attempt to close this one out. But look at the stack for EG. 3 players already on it.
Space in the yard being taken now by Complexity. They are making a lot of noise stepping around here. Is that showstopper coming in from Jazzy? Can she find the opening? Oh my god, she finds 2. Both players stacked up next to each other. You can't ask for an opening better than that.
It's stunning out of Jazzy. Does EG have a chance to get back in, though? They put so much work, so much effort into this comeback. They were an inch away from getting it done. But it can't all be stolen away now. Complexity holding strong in the post plant. A late player coming to be it's Thea. The 2 others up top for EG, having no easy way in. Flash does not connect for anything. They'll dive out into the smoke, and the Paranoia will connect from the other side. Who makes the first move? Who finds the first pick? Can they even get a tap on this spike? Because time is dwindling. And Jazzy's still in this one. She's clean with 3 kills. Lace finds another, and it's all but done. Complexity deny Evil Genius's comeback. They keep their dream of Brazil alive, and they make it to a 3rd map.
Crushing blow from Complexity at the very end. EG strung, what, 5-6 rounds in a row? They had the believers truly believing at the end of that game, and it's only right that Jazzy closes things out in the fashion she began. The numbers she put up on Lotus there, just incredible. And it's never just about the kills with Jazzy anymore. We're not just thinking about her as this duelist player that is being set up to frag. No, she is the IGL as well, and masterfully calls on Lotus.
A beautiful game there from Complexity that almost slipped them by, but they stay in it. We have a 3rd map on the cards here. One of these teams is going home, and one of these teams still has a chance to be that final representative in Brazil. We'll find out who maintains that opportunity after the break.